Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Before I start, I have this, it's just a regular $8.99, $10, it goes up a little bit. But it's a road atlas, a regular road atlas. This one's been out since 1924 specifically, but they've been gathering maps about, and they have, if you look at different New England, you have special natural attractions. You have cypress wildernesses and this is a gorge right here, this boy here. It looks like the Grand Canyon, but it's not. This is a serious gorge. It's only 40 feet wide, and it's thousands of feet deep, you can see it. And you can see all these meadowlands, buffalo, moose, and when you're driving around the country, you see all of this. Bryce Canyon, Utah, you just go right by it, But I don't go by it all the time. Sometimes I stop. This is the one they call Bears, something or other. See right there, that's where the bears' claws are supposed to make the ridges. This is what the Indians say they made it. They might have made it up and stuff like that, but it makes sense to them. Holes in walls and canyons. This is technically a beautiful country. Right. There's no doubt about it. I've been to most countries, and many of them have many beautiful landscapes, beautiful waterfalls, and but if you take the United States of America, the continental U.S., don't talk about Alaska and the beautiful waves in Hawaii and all of that. I don't want to get off on a environmental thing, but one of the things about the human being, he's supposed to be the Khalifa. And I just wanted to mention that because sometimes if people never see all of that stuff, it's like watching being in D.C. for 50 years, 100 years, you know what I mean? It don't change much. And so this beauty that they have here in America, this crackpot is beginning to affect everything, and only the furthest, you can't get away from it, but the further you get away from the human being, the better it is. But they don't stay away, because in Yosemite, that beautiful, in Yosemite they have all those beautiful monuments. In Yellowstone, hey man, that stuff is beautiful. It just reminds you, people, they don't even know where the water runs to the West Coast and where the continent, there's a continental divide. All of us know there's a Continental Divide. And what Continental Divide? Well, it's a whole area up in Wyoming and all that. It says Continental Divide. Da, 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 da. If you're down lower, it says Continental Divide on that level too. And if you're all the way down on Highway 10, it's only 4,000 something feet up there, but it's the Continental Divide, Lordsburg, somewhere, where they got these little children. The little girl died the other day. Right around there. And they got chains running all down to Mexico. We know about the Grand Canyon, but they got Cobra Canyon, Copper Canyon. And you just happen to go by someplace in Mexico, and you say, oh, this is Cobra Canyon. It is, it's a beautiful world, and I would like for us to be in that number to kind of tighten it up. Now back to Imam Musa solo. Well, Imam Musa solo. Like, you're never solo, but this idea of Stalingrad to Oakland, the idea of Dr. Khalil Siddiqui, right, and our relationship to that. This is a real period in our history. Now, what we have to look at is what the movement means to us. What the movement means to us. How do we view the movement? How do we picture the movement? Not only how we picture in an analysis, but how we really see it in our heart. You know what I mean? How do we really visualize this human potential movement? And I say that because a lot of what we see is related to how we see it, basically. What do you want to make out of life? What do we want to make out of life? So it relates back to in the 60s. It was a period of, we called it black nationalism and what have you. And it was. That's exactly what it was. It was intentional of black nationalism. And we showed the pictures of the slick Negro, and this is the guy here, and these guys here get killed before that. This is a conscious decision. It's a real decision. Now, we realized that if we would have run out there with black leather jackets on and stingy brims, we might have lasted a week or two, maybe, hey, everybody, some lasted 3 months. They never got a chance to develop what Malcolm had talked about, what King has talked about. Now, what we did in those days was in real time. Remember what King did? King, in 1968, Martin Luther King went to Chicago. He went to Chicago for the specific reason, a clear reason, of establishing a type of renaissance in the black community. he went there with that idea in mind, that we're gonna develop the black community economically, not just the poor man's march, you know what I mean? But we want to see black people prosper. They might call them economic enterprise zones now, they call them that. Malcolm had the idea, but he didn't even get a chance to get it off the ground. But Martin Luther King was not slow. He was looking and he said, hey man, the core of our being is not so-called civil rights, but it's economic rights. And if you get enough economic rights, you're going to get civil rights. Now, he didn't go out and say that, but that's what he was doing. He was doing that. We looked at it, we said that automatically. We didn't have to go through no changes. We said, that's automatic. So what we did in Oakland, this leads up to where we're going. What we did in Oakland was we got busy developing a black nationalist community. There had been some other big Negroes, but the big Negroes had certain differences. They had a little bit of wealth for their group. This Big Johnny and his crew, this Big Joe and his crew, and they got a little money. Would you turn that off just for a second? But nobody decided in the front of their mind that we're going to have a black community with economic wealth, where we control our community. Okay, when you go back to Oakland, what made the European so mad was that when he looked up, he said, look at here, look at here. He closed up the book, he said, oh no, that's it. Look at here. I had so many federal cases in a hot minute because it didn't work. The elected, of course, driving the big cars, all of that, that was wonderful. I didn't have no, but that was not the main thing. That was not the main thing. When the white man looked around and he said, not only, you know what he saw? He said, East Oakland Enterprises is a going concern. Money comes into East Oakland and circulates before it goes out. He said, well, that's not the typical black community. He said, the people in our community, us, we brought money in the community and made sure it circulated around in the community. We talk about it all the time. But see, nobody ever did it. Nobody ever did it up until that time. That's the problem that the United States government has with us right now. That's the problem. If you look at Oakland, what are they trying to do? Trying to tear Oakland down. You go by the Masjid, you don't see nothing there. You might go there on Juma, and it might be 2, 3 people, 4, 5 people, but it ain't nothing happening. The rest of the week, there's nothing happening. You go to any other property we have, there's nothing happening. The whole idea is to slow down and stop the progress, right? Stop the example of Masjid al-Islam. And if you see right here, we have 8 pieces of property here. But the people don't know this is a going concern unless we tell them. Because they'll see this next door, da-da-da-da-da, and it looks like we're not doing very well, if you look at it from outside. Junk cars parked there, da-da-da-da-da. That's the purpose of it. Okay. Don't worry about the purpose. We got all the purpose, ain't no problem. The thing is that now we're going into a new dispensation, and that dispensation calls for what? That we're already into our own image building. Our own image building. If you want to have a starting date, use the 1st of whatever it is, January. But we're already doing that. We're going to build the image. What does the image look like? Number one, that image is a people that's able to stand up to the government of the United States no matter what they do. And when I say it this time, I mean whether physical, chemical, or psychological, back in 2004. Because we went through that. This is just another phase of it. It's just another phase. Boss man, as usual, bites the dust because we leave him only one alternative. Victory or martyrdom, that's all. That's all. We're not concerned with anything else. We're not concerned with anything else because that's the way it's being brought to us. We've tried every other way that we could. We hold on for years, and that was good to give everybody a chance to make up their mind. But they have made up their mind. The world can't wait on the world can't wait on it's just the world needs an example. And that example, I bought a lot of I didn't have time to get it, but before I go on the next trip after coming back this time, I will have I'll make packages, packages, legal packages, just to see. And in the legal packages, it'll only be 10 or 15% of what we've been dealing with. But that's plenty. So, what do we see in this whole thing? When the people used to look at Oakland, all they saw is just Oakland. But when we looked at Oakland, man, we saw a thriving metropolis. We saw people going in and out of buildings. In 1968, I could see it clear as a bell. Man, we're going to have limousines going in and out. And it wasn't less than a year later, of course. Much less than a year later. It was happening. Okay. So what do we see in DC? Other people might see old cars and all of that. That's fine for a day or so. It's fine for a few months. But we're going to present an image of people who have already, what we're talking about doing, we've already done that. We don't have to do, oh, we got to, no. We don't have to do nothing. We have tripled and quadrupled up over all movements in history, in our history, without batting an eye. And it's all right there on paper. You can't say it's not, you know. I'm sorry, it's all there. So, that's where we're going from here, and we hope to visit everybody in the neighborhood, all over Al-Hidra, this, that, and other. All of, when we talk about DC, and we talk about from Baltimore to Richmond, that's our beginning ground. I may give a khutbah here once every blue moon, but the idea is to get out to the people and show them what's been going on. And we got everything, right? We got everything. There's nothing they can do about it. Okay? So this is a period of really, it's called, in history, it would be a highly inspirational period to inspire people to go beyond, I don't want to sound cliche, but to go beyond where they have already been. We don't have to go there again because we already been there. Now, we often, when they push the button and they say engage and the Star Trek, whoosh, you see the lights. That's what we are. That's what we already doing that. We already doing that. And ain't nothing boss man can do, because boss man is stuck. He's stuck. He's lost his vision. He's lost his eyesight. He's lost his hindsight to look behind. He's lost his foresight to look ahead. And he's lost his insight to look right now.